I've touched upon the concept of outside factors in video games before, but I've never really clarified what I meant by it, so I'll do that right now. Let's start off by going to Wikipedia and seeing their list of best-selling video games article. According to this article, the top 3 best-selling video games of all time are Wii Sports with 66.19 million, Super Mario Bros. With 40.23 million, and Tetris with 35 million. What do these 3 games all have in common? They've all been bundled with a console. So now we have to scroll up and look at the list of best-selling console games, ones that weren't bundled with a console. The best-selling video game of all time, not to be bundled with a console, is Wii Play on the Nintendo Wii at 27.38 million copies. But that game wasn't that great. How did it sell so well? Oh, that's right, it was bundled with a Wii remote. So let's go on to the next one. Number 2 is Nintendogs at 23.26 million. But it says it's counting all 5 versions of the game. Next is Wii Fit at 22.61 million copies sold. But that was bundled with a balance board. Next is Mario Kart Wii with 22.55 million units sold. But that was bundled with the Wii Wheel. Finally, we reach the first video game not to be bundled with something. New Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo DS with 22.49 million copies sold. Wouldn't you agree that the 7 other games shouldn't count for bestsellers because they had some type of trick to help them sell more? So yeah, the definition of an outside factor is something that's not part of the video game that gives it a high or low status. The outside factor I've addressed before was at Screw Attack. They were having a contest where you nominate and vote the worst video game of the decade, and Sonic the Hedgehog on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 beat Big Rigs Over the Road Racing because everyone was voting for it because they thought it was too different from the classic Sonic the Hedgehog games. Just because a video game is different doesn't mean that it sucks. Here's another example. You know the website Smashboards, right? I hate them. They were always bashing me because I didn't like playing with items off. And they were always insulting me because of this. Does that mean that I hate the video game Super Smash Bros. Brawl because they did that? No. When Halo Reach came out, my brother wanted to loan money from anyone in the family that was willing to give it to him because he wanted to buy the game. When no one was giving it to him, he threw a giant fit that made my parents almost have to call 911. Is saying Halo Reach sucks because it caused a lot of drama in my family a valid argument? Of course not. Now let's talk about outside factors making a video game better than it actually is. Of course, there's the idea that if a video game comes into a certain franchise, it's instantly good or bad, but and huge sales of a video game doesn't instantly make it good. In my Sonic the Hedgehog fanboys rant, I said that Sonic Unleashed sold 5 million copies, so the series is still alive. Just because it's alive doesn't mean that it's good. All I was saying that as long as Sega keeps making money, they'll keep making games. Waving critics' reviews in other people's faces isn't much of a valid argument either. And now we continue to my favorite outside factor, multiple video games in one. Take a huge survey of Sonic fans and ask them what their favorite Sonic game of all time is. Chances are, most of them will say Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But why? It's Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles in one game. Isn't that cheating? While you're at it, you might as well say Sonic Mega Collection, because it has Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as well. So yeah, most people don't consider video games like Sonic Mega Collection or Super Mario All-Stars as individual games. However, people actually think that Sonic 3 and Knuckles counts as one video game. And yes, I've heard the argument that they were supposed to be one video game if not for budget and time constraints. But do you want to hear a secret? It doesn't work like that. They were sold as 2 video games. They are 2 video games. Sega probably just split them in 2 so that they can get double the money and all the reception. Are there any other forms of outside factors? Tell me by commenting. Next time you judge a video game, please judge it by itself and itself alone. Thank you.